Great to have your company for another week of the NTFA Footy Show, brought to you by DLM Machinery. Great to have your company, and plenty to get through tonight as well on the show. We've got our Women in Football segment, a great acknowledgement for a record achievement down south. We'll give you all the details of that as well. Clubs in focus this weekend. Yep, that's right. Clubs, Rochalee and Bracknell playing in a very significant, important game on Sunday. And we'll bring you up to speed with some of the events happening at your local footy club around Tasmania as well. But as we do every week, we're going to kick off the show with thanks to the Crafty Cuts from Little Rivers Brewery, our photo of the week. And it comes from Morven Park in Evandale last weekend. Now, this was a big day because what happened was, as you can see, we got the Evandale reserves players, just to paint the picture, and their senior players out on the ground before the game. And we must acknowledge Old Scotch that were on the other side as well, in honour of Lynn Rigby, who sadly passed away suddenly on the 30th of April. And you can it's just off camera, but a big photo of her on the big screen. And it was the opening of the Lynn Rigby Memorial Canteen. Lynn gave decades of service to the Evandale Football Club in the canteen. And it was acknowledged on Saturday, and that is our photo of the week, sent in by Katrina Brown from the Evandale Football Club. So she takes home the gift pack this week. So as always, please shoot us in your favourite footy pick of the week. And if you're lucky enough to win, you'll take home a gift pack next week. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to focus on a big weekend coming up at Rochalee on Sunday.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
Ya, Palingla Miladina Pakanatu. Hello and welcome to Aboriginal Land. The NTFA Aboriginal Round is about celebrating the
Tasmanian Aboriginal community.
And it's acknowledging that every football ground is played on Aboriginal land.
It's just a big jump. It actually feels like you're running out to play in a grand final.
You are the Warriors. Nori Nina 2.
Thanks to Harrison Agents. It is one of the big days on the NTFA football calendar every year, the annual Aboriginal Round clash at Rochalee. And one of the voices that you heard in there, and he's going to be playing on Sunday as well in a big, big game against the Bracknell Football Club, is Zane Brown, who joins us from the Rochalee Footy Club. G'day, Zane. Welcome. Good to have you on the show, mate.
Good to be on it.
And you've already got your playing jumper. You've been given that nice and early. What does it mean to you? It is a special day, but I think for you personally, it obviously must mean a lot. Yeah,
it does. Look, I come from an Aboriginal background, so it is a very special day on the calendar, and I always look forward to it.
And Graham Gardner obviously created all of this some years ago now, and it's turned out, as I said, to be one of the big days on the NTFA calendar. And it's not just about the football. It's a lot more than that, where we have special guests coming over, and we can see here is a beautiful segue into the photos of what goes on, obviously pre-game as well. And the late, great Neil Maynard is remembered this year, obviously, with the Neil Maynard medal that's presented to the best player each year as well. So what does it mean to you to pull on this specially designed jumper by Danny Gardner and representing your club and the Aboriginal community?
I'm honoured every time I get to pull on this jumper, even especially not even always Aboriginal around. It's just a great club to be at, and Gardy does the most unbelievable work to make this day very special for the club, and he's put in that much hours and effort, and it's really good.
It is. And look, the day, we'll give you a bit of information, but some photos of what happened last year, because the long walk is a very big part of the day, and we actually were very, very fortunate to have the one and only Michael Long here last year, as you can see there. But that's going to start at 10:30 a.m. on Sunday. It's going to leave from Brooks High School. We'd love to see as many people as possible rock up there on Sunday for that. Pretty good weather forecast for the day as well at this stage on Sunday, which for me and everyone else that was in the long walk, as you can see, the bottom part of my hoodie there was absolutely saturated. It was the mother of all rainstorms. You might have been out on the ground warming up for this game last year, but it absolutely bucketed down, Zane, as we were walking from Brooks High to Rochalee Footy Club. Not a lot of people had sympathy for us. It was a first world problem, but fine weather forecast, so that'll probably help suit you guys. But there's all the details up on your screen as well. We can tell you with the game, there are actually 4 matches. The under-18 boys gets underway at 8:55 a.m. The reserves at 10:50. And then we've got the NTJFA. Great to have them involved. The under-17 girls, North Launceston and East Launceston. That's at 12:45. And the senior game getting underway at 2:30 p.m. on Sunday. Generally get around the 1,500, 2,000 up there for that game. So it's going to be a great day. And Zane, as well, it is a big game of football as well, because it's second versus third. Bracknell, of course, premiers a couple of years ago in 2021, and you guys runners up to Longford last year. So there's actually a lot to play for as well. It's a big game. How's the team approached it this week?
Yeah, we're going at it pretty full on for training, since we did have a light week last week. So putting in all the work on the ground. So as we've always seen in the past, like we've lost probably the last 3 of these ones, even though it's a big day for us. Probably the nerves get to us a bit more, and then we just can never perform on the day. But no, I do remember last year though, when you actually all did walk up and you were all soaked.
We were soaked, and I think it was just like a pocket of rain that actually just dropped from about a 100-metre square radius, because I think when we got to the ground, it actually wasn't that bad.
That was good at the ground. I remember that, because we actually just came back from our warm-up and seen you all walking through the car park.
Yeah, well, I blame Graham Gardner for timing it that way, but he was part of it, so he got saturated as well. But it was a great day. And obviously the week off last week because of the rep games, so pretty light week, was it, on the track the previous week? Yeah,
we did have one solid session and then try to rest the bodies up a bit, because we know what it always comes to when we play against these bigger teams. Like, we have struggled a little bit, but then we'll put in more work, just being relaxed for 1 week and then come straight out again.
Bit of consistency's come back for the club as well. It was sort of a loss win over the first month or so. But do you feel the club is now starting to get back to their best a little bit?
Yeah, it actually shows now on the ground. Like, we're actually putting in more work, and we actually bonded much better. Like, we're actually playing as one team. So it actually feels much better and enjoyable out there winning games.
Well, the Red Leagues are in pretty good form as well. I know they've won a few on the trot, so it promises to be a big day. So we hope that people can get out there. There's no other footy to worry about, no AFL. So hopefully a big crowd, Zane, will be out at Rochalee on Sunday. Look, thanks for coming in and bringing your jumper in as well. I know it's going to be a big day. We hope you enjoy it, and good luck to the City Tigers on Sunday.
Thank you.
Good on you. That's Zane Brown joining us from the Rochalee Football Club, going very well too. He's sitting in the top 7 goal kickers, 12 at the moment, and averaging 2 a game. So good start to the season for you.
Thank you.
Quick break, come back and we'll get on to women's footy next.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
And with thanks to Cleanaway, now it is time to take a look at women's footy for this week in the NTFA. But before we get to the NTFA, pretty extraordinary achievement by Melinda Green, who is the playing coach of the New Norfolk District Football Club. There she is on the screen, and check that out. The first female player to ever kick 300 goals in her career down here in Tasmania. It was against Huonville at Boyer, and here is the moment where she slots through her 300th goal, and thanks to the team down at New Norfolk for shooting that through to us as well, because historical moment there in women's football. She actually began playing in the very first year of women's football in Tasmania as well, so it's an amazing achievement from her. Get this, a 9-time premiership player as well, 6 with Clarence, 2 with Lindisfarne, and then last year with the New Norfolk Football Club as well. Also the first woman to reach 150 games in Tasmania back in 2021. She's now up to 176 in total, and obviously kicked her 300th goal last weekend and playing coach for New Norfolk. So congratulations to Melinda Green. Extraordinary achievement, and well done from all of us here at Tassie Rules, the NTFA Footy Show. All right, let's get on to NTFA Footy now. Firstly, to the Women's Premier Division ladder. Big weekend down at Georgetown, the gala day down there where every match was actually played down in Georgetown. It was a huge weekend. We take a look at the Premier Division first of all, and there is the ladder. Bridgenorth, the only undefeated side, they're on 6 from 6. And they are leading OLs by 6 points. A big game coming up this weekend featuring both those sides. Launceston scored their very first win of the season as well. So great for them. The reigning premiers defeating South Launceston last week. And as I said, Bridgenorth made it 6 from 6. And OLs defeated their big rival, Old Scotch, by 20 points to now sit in clear second position on the ladder. So if we have a look at the matches that are coming up this weekend in the Premier Division, and you can see it there coming up on Saturday, we've got Launceston, and they're going to be at home to Old Scotch. That is down at Windsor Park, 10:25 a.m. that match. This will be a beauty. First versus second in the Premier Division. Bridgenorth taking on Old Launcestonians down at Parrot Park, 5 to 11 Saturday morning. And then we've also got at same time Saturday at Youngtown, South Launceston looking to get back on the winners list. Important game coming up for them. They take on Scottsdale. So that is the Premier Division footy for this week in the women. We'll turn our attention now to Division 1 and look at the ladder. As I mentioned, of course, all the matches last week were down at Georgetown, and you can see there that the Meander Valley Suns still on top of the ladder. They had another big win, and they defeated the in-form Deloraine last week down at Georgetown. And Georgetown are coming back from the bye, but they're sitting there in second position on the table. And also rounding it out, Deloraine, they got the bye this week, and Hillwood sitting in fourth position after their win. So that is the ladder as it stands, and we turn our attention to what's coming up in matches this week in women's. We've got Georgetown. They're going to be playing the Meander Valley Suns. A couple of Friday night games for the round this week. 7 o'clock, Georgetown, fresh off the bye, taking on top of the table Meander Valley. That is down at Blue Gum Park, the beautiful Blue Gum Park. And then on Friday night, also out at Evandale. This is a very important game between fourth placed Hillwood and Evandale out there at Morven Park. They both had big wins over Longford and East Coast respectively last week, so an important game for them, fourth and fifth on the table as we mentioned. And then on Saturday down at St Helens, the East Coast Swans and Longford. A chance for them to break their duck and win their first game of the season, so they'll both be pumped up for that game down on the beautiful East Coast on that Saturday afternoon, which will be a big day down there of footy action as well. All that we've got left to do now is to go through the MVP. The votes are in for the rounds, and we'll take a look firstly at the Women's Premier Division and have a look at the leaderboard there. Another 6 votes for Bridgenorth's Emily McKinnell. Now sees her leading the Bogues MVP by a whopping 15 votes already. Extraordinary start to the season for Emily. She's clear of Maggie Cuthbertson from Old Scotch, who is on 12. And then Sophie Farrow from Old Launcestonians has jumped into the top 3. She polled 3 votes and moves into third position in the Bogues MVP in the Women's Premier Division. And finally, Women's Division 1. We'll have a look at the leaderboard there as it stands after round 5. And Evandale's Georgia Rowley, she's closed the gap to Georgetown's Jodie Clifford. Of course, Jodie also coach of the girls team in the Coates Talent League. But it is still Jodie leading the way, but the gap has closed, as we said, to 6 after Georgia received 3 votes against Longford. And Hillwood's Taylor Leonard moves into third. She also polled 3 votes in her side's big win over East Coast. And Brianna Bowen is also third from Meander after polling a big 5 votes against Deloraine. So that is the leaderboard in the Bogues MVP as it stands after last weekend's action in the women's competitions. That's all thanks to Cleanaway. We'll be back next week, of course, with another segment on women's football, but we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at footy around Tasmania.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
Great to have your company on the NTFA Footy Show, with thanks to Crafty Cuts. Time now to check out football around Tasmania. And we've got a few events coming up that we're going to tell you a little bit about now. Firstly, the Sheffield Football Club. Now, the second place Sheffield are taking on Sprayton this Saturday at home, and this is a dream time under the mountain. And there you can see what is happening on your screen there now. And when we say under the mountain, that is picturesque because it is under Mount Roland, of course. Sheffield Footy Club, a beautiful part of the world up there. Pre-game ceremony, welcome to country, and there's going to be plenty happening up there for that game. Of course, big rivals there. Sheffield taking on Sprayton on Saturday afternoon. And then that night, they have got a very special guest speaker in the one and only Kevin Sheedy. He's going to be at the club this Saturday, the 27th of May. And there you can see the details on your screen. Just $35 a head, and includes a light supper as well. So that's a pretty decent value from 6:30 p.m. and you'll get to hear from an absolute legend in Kevin Sheedy. That should be a great night there, a day and night at the Sheffield Footy Club. Now, coming up on the 9th of June at Ulverston, it is rep footy time. Of course, we had the NTFA and the NWFL last week, and this time, the NWFA are going to be playing the Darwin Association in their annual rep game. As I mentioned, the 9th of June, that's coming up. The starting time still to be confirmed, but if you just keep abreast of the Facebook pages of the NWFA and the Darwin Footy Association, those details will be up there pretty soon, I am sure. All right, the Elizabethtown Football Club, the once great Elizabethtown Footy Club out there in the Meander Valley area, are about to celebrate the 1983 premiership. So 40 years later, the club, of course, went or folded many years ago now, but great that they're going to be getting together, these players, to celebrate the occasion. It's on Saturday, the 1st of July. It's going to be at the Devonport Oval, and the cost there, it is $10 for adults, $3 for pensioners. There is a Facebook page that you can go to if you want to jot this one down, ETFC, so ETFC 1983 for 1983. You can get all the details for that as well. And down the northwest coast, the Ulverston Footy Club, this will be a great event. The Old Robins Association of former players, officials and supporters, well, they're going to be at their annual dinner on the 26th of August from 6:30. Rodney Rocket Eade will be the special guest, four-time premiership player with the Hawks, and of course, former coach of the Sydney Swans, the Western Bulldogs and the Gold Coast Suns. So you can jump on the Ulverston Footy Club Facebook page for more information on how you can buy tickets for that event. So some great events coming up in local footy. As always, send us a message if you've got something that you would like promoted as well. Time now to finish off and check out what's coming up in local men's footy this week in the NTFA. It is round 7, of course. No matches last weekend in the Premier Division because of the rep game down in Devonport, and congratulations, by the way, to the NWFL on their victory. But as you can see, the matches coming up in round 7, Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Big rivals here, Hillwood versus Georgetown, 2 o'clock Saturday at Hillwood, Shark Park. As I said, big rivals, but a big gap at the moment on the table. Hillwood undefeated on top, Georgetown on the bottom of the ladder, still looking for their first win, but always a good contest when these two play. Bridgenorth are taking on Longford. Key game for both sides. This, Longford, the reigning premiers, sitting 4th at the moment. They're a game and percentage clear of Bridgenorth, who are in 7th. So you can tell by that, not much on difference on the ladder. So it's a very important game, this one. It is at Bridgenorth. South Launceston take on Scottsdale. That's at 2:30 at the Youngtown Oval. South Launceston sitting 6th on the table, and Scottsdale currently at the moment on 1 win from their 5 games. So important game there. Of course, the final game of the round we touched on a little earlier with Zane Brown, of course, with Rochalee taking on Bracknell. Finally, let's have a look at Division 1 footy. Let's have a look at the ladder, first of all, as it stands right now. And we can see that on top of the table, well, we've got 2 undefeated sides, last year's grand finalist, Old Scotch, and they are joined there by Perth. The big surprise packet of the year didn't make finals last year, and they're undefeated 6 from 6, second on percentage. St Pat's, the reigning premiers, third, and then we've got Lilydale, Evandale rounding out the top 5 on 12, and the East Coast Swans just outside the top 5 on 12. So we can have a look at the matches now coming up this weekend in NTFA Division 1. The East Coast Swans, they are taking on Lilydale down at the East Coast Swans home ground there at St Helens. We've got Perth at home to Old Launcestonians. Massive game, this one in particular for OLs. They've been struggling a little bit this year, and they will certainly be wanting a win, but a tough game there at Perth. Bridport are taking on Evandale, 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon at Bridport. And then we've got the Meander Valley Suns still looking for their first win of the season. They got a tough one. They take on the reigning premiers St Pat's at Westbury. That's at 2 o'clock on Saturday. And then also on Saturday afternoon, down the NTCA ground, it's Old Scotch taking on University of Tasmania. So that's going to be a pretty tough one for them as well. So that is what we've got coming up in Division 1. And we're going to just finish off now at looking at how things are going in the Bogues MVP. Of course, no matches in the Premier Division last week, so we'll just look straight into the leaderboard as it currently stands in Division 1. It's tightened up a little bit, courtesy of William Haley playing an absolute blinder for Perth last week in their win over East Coast. As you can see, he polled 6 votes and now trails Old Scotch's John McKenzie by just 1 vote. And Haley's Perth teammate, Jacob Williams, is now outright third on 16 votes. He polled 3 in that win last week as well against the East Coast Swans. So tightening up a little bit there in the Bogues MVP leaderboard. See how they go this weekend in the matches as well. As always, thanks very much for your company on the NTFA Footy Show. Appreciate your support. Big weekend of footy coming up. Get those photos into us, and we look forward to seeing you next week here on Tassie Rules, the NTFA Footy Show.